So today I'm sharing one of my favorite stories, how I spent my summer vacation, written and illustrated by Mark Teague. And this is another fantasy story. We know that it's not real, but it's fun. It's fundamental. So I want you to, if you're not in the mood or you're not feeling well, sit back, relax, enjoy the reading. But if you feel like reading, just take your time and read along. Yeah, here we go. When summer began, I headed out west. My parents had told me I needed a rest. Your imagination, they said, is getting too wild. It would do you some good to relax for a while. So they put me aboard a westbound train to visit Aunt Fern in her house on the plains. And I love the pictures. I think the illustrations are just super, super, super nice. How I Spent My Summer Vacation by Wallace Bleff. So Bleff is the little guy, yeah? And this person over here will talk about who she may be. Okay, so here we go. But I was captured by cowboys, a wild-looking crowd. Their manners were rough and their voices were loud. I tried to get my aunt's house. I tried to get to my aunt's house, I said, but they carried me off to their cow camp instead. The cattle boss growled and he told me to sit. We need a cowboy. Our old cowboy quit. We could sure use your help. So what do you say? I thought for a minute, then I told him, okay. Then I wrote to Aunt Fern so she'd know where I'd gone. I said not to worry, so for I won't be long. Dear Aunt, captured by cowboys, don't worry, see you soon. Love, Aunt Wallace. Could you imagine? That night, I was given a new set of clothes. So I looked like a wrangler from my head to my toes. But there's more to a cowboy than boots and his hat. I found out the next day and the day after that. Each day, I discovered some new cowboy tricks, from roping and riding to making fire sticks. Slowly the word spread all over the land. That Wrangler Kid Bleff is a first-rate cowhand. Do you believe that? Is it believable or is it not? The day finally came when the roundup was through. Aunt Fern called, come on over, bring your cowboys with you. She was cooking a barbecue that very same day, so we cleaned up a little and we headed her way. The food was delicious. There was plenty to eat, and the band that was playing just couldn't be beat. Yeehaw! Ding a ding ding a ding ding a ding ding a ding ding ding. But suddenly I noticed a terrible sight. The cattle were stirring and stamping with fright. It's a scene I'll remember till my very last day. They're going to stampede, I heard someone say. Just then they came charging, and they charged right at me. I looked for a hiding place, a rock or a tree. What I found was a tablecloth spread out on the ground. So I turned it like a matador and spun it around. It was a new kind of cowboying, a fantastic display. The cattle were frightened and stampeded away. The cowboys all cheered, "Yeah! Bless a true buckaroo." They shook my hand and slapped my back, and Aunt Fern hugged me too. And that's how I spent my summer vacation. Wheels bent, stories end. Do you believe or don't you believe it? So some things to think about. You know, when you go back to school or anytime you're away, you can use your own imagination. You can write your stories, but let's spend a little time with think and respond. How does Wallace use his imagination in his report? What words would you use to describe Wallace and why? Why do you think the author shows the animals in the classroom at the end of the story? And which part of this story do you like the best and why? What strategies did you use to help you read this story? I could share a few ideas with you. How does Wallace uses his imagination in this report? I think his imagination is over the top, but it's fun. And I like the rhyming words. That helps the reading flow and make it even more fundamental. Number 2, what words would you use to describe Wallace and why? Wallace is, to me, I would say that he is fun, he's happy, and he's a character, a colorful character, just like the pictures in his story. And why? Because I actually could see the cattle coming and stampeding. That was exciting to me. And why do you think the author shows the animals in the classroom at the end of the story? Let's go back here and look. Oh, right there. I don't know. Maybe just to kind of stress that point. That was a highlight of the story for me. So maybe it was a highlight of the story when the author was writing it. And the author is, everyone, the person who wrote the story. And this author name is Mark Teague. What does Mark Teague do during his summer vacation? He spends most of his summers and falls and winters and springs writing and illustrating children's books. Mark Teague began making children's books while working at a bookstore in New York City in the United States. The children's books in the store reminded him of how much he enjoyed writing and illustrating his own stories when he was young. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with Mark Teague and with Wallace and his imagination.